So, greetings. I hope everyone is well. Today is an interesting day, a day where I want to talk about what I call the 10% advantage. And in particular, it has to do with sort of how we change our attitude a little bit. And a lot of times, I think we get inspired and we want to change our attitude totally. We love compassion, we want to become wiser, stronger, more confident, and we realize we have to get up in the morning, we want to do everything at once. But a lot of times, that is very short lived. And after a while, we're not doing anything. So we've gone from sort of over enthusiasm to nothing at all. And so this is sort of just idea that I like to present because I'm very much into how we can use our everyday life and contemplations, things that we're thinking about, themes that are important in our life, and how we begin to successfully bring them into our life, incorporate them into our life. So we maybe want to be more open-minded, not so reactionary, understand more profound issues, but we want to know how to bring it in. And I think we're all challenged by this as life becomes busier and there's less time. And one of the themes that I was thinking about is that if we are able to, in a sense, just use a portion of our mind and attitude. So instead of like a 90% change, we get up in the morning and say, okay, 10% of our mind we will put towards this new themes that we're trying to work on that day. So for example, if we're trying to work on compassion, as opposed to getting up in the morning and thinking, I'm going to be compassionate to everyone, so that's going to be very hard for all of us. And we may find it difficult and, and we think it's not doable. And by halfway through the day, we're not doing it anymore at all. We say, forget about it. We don't want to do that anymore. Really, it's getting up in the morning and say, well, 10%, I can handle that. So maybe, I always joke, say 90% you can be upset and everything else and irritated, but 10% of your mind, you think, okay, the 90% think about self-obsession or whatever, but 10% think about others. If we're thinking about compassion, saying, for 10% of my mind, I can do that. I can begin to at least look at and entertain the idea of what someone else is going through. And bit by bit, if we do that 10%, that little bit, it gives us an advantage on the day. It gives us at least 10% of our mind and our life is moving forward. And if we notice, a lot of times when we get up in the morning, we're doing the same things again. We're habitually doing the same things. And we're, in a sense, at the end of the day, we've gone through the same pattern. It may be different people and different scenarios, but it's the same thing. But here with the 10% saying, what are we going to do that's going to move my life forward? So that is the notion of 10%. And for you, it might be generosity. It may be love. It may be mindfulness. It may be space, giving a sense of space to our life. But whatever it is, we wake up in the morning and we say, for a part of my attitude here, that I will do this. And the thing about this advantage is that most of what we're developing are these very positive qualities. So if we're developing kindness and compassion or understanding just a little bit, it has a lot more weight. Sometimes we think anger has a lot of weight. But the reality is that when someone is kind to us, someone is loving, even for a brief moment, it affects us all. We feel it, we remember the rest of the day. So just a little bit. So we have that little 10-minute sort of attitude change. And it begins to kind of creep in. It begins to creep into the rest of our day. And bit by bit, we feel that. And so it's very important that we're looking at our life as a long term. How is it that we can begin to incorporate these themes? For many of us, I feel like, a lot of us have inspiration. We want to do it. But how do we incorporate it in? So I would like to just present this and try it as a recommendation. And in the morning, what is it you would like to develop? Maybe kind to just a few people. Pick those individuals. Maybe it's generosity, a little bit at a time. So whatever it may be, you begin to do it. And as you begin to do that, it affects your life. We see it in my life. We see what we're doing. It begins to then, in a sense, have a chain reaction. And it begins to leak into other aspects of our life. But bit by bit, I feel like those 10%, because they're very good qualities. In Tibetan, we call them yunten, noble qualities, very strong noble qualities. Those noble qualities have such weight and power that they begin to offset sort of our more aggressive and self-centered attitudes and more negative attitudes, negative aspects of ourselves, and they begin to sway. And as that shift begins to take place, we say, oh, I see it, and we become inspired. And therefore we do more. So slowly it begins to come into other aspects of our life. And it gives us just that advantage that we need in order to go forward and incorporate our life, spiritual journey, meditative journey together. And so it becomes more balanced. So try that 10% and see what happens. Good luck.